need to know that. So what's next for this podcast? You guys have probably realized following through social media, or even if you don't, if you just click on the podcast on Apple or Spotify or YouTube or whatever, you probably notice a new logo. Very similar, but a bit different. It's got the red. And then if you look at all our descriptions or you follow me on social media, you're realizing, hey, wait a second, there's a lot of Husker stuff going on here. Yeah, this podcast is completely revamped and changed. I'm not saying I won't talk high school football or like talk with other coaches, but this podcast is no longer a high school football podcast anymore. There's a few reasons why for that, and I'll just be completely honest and open with you guys. I felt like I was partially limiting kind of my audience base. I know there's a lot. I know that I had people that were gonna like listen no matter what, but like I was kind of eliminating a lot of people that if it was a solo podcast, they wanted to listen to me talk. But if I'm having other people on that they didn't know, just people that don't care about high school football or what it takes to build a high school football team, they didn't care. The other thing is, and I'll just be real, and I say this with love to anyone, like some of these coaches are hard to get on. Like I have a whole bunch of things set up, but like we just couldn't make our schedules matched up, so that was a hard thing. I already had to delay a couple episodes and all that. And here's the other thing: I took this directly. So if you guys remember from like episode 3, maybe it was 4, I had Coach Chamberlain on. Coach Daniel Chamberlain, and he came on this podcast and talked about why everyone should do a podcast. And you want your kids and grandkids and all that to be able to look back however long down the line and say, what was Dad really like? What was I really like? And as much as I love coaching and everything, we're gonna get into this more. I love coaching football. I'm gonna coach football for literally the rest of my life. I'm gonna coach sports for the rest of my life because if I'm not coaching high school football next season, which I still might, but if I'm not, I'm going to be coaching something, even if it's my freaking daughter's 8-year-old basketball team. I'm going to be coaching something. So my coaching isn't done. But as much as I love coaching, there's one thing that I'm very so passionate about is the Nebraska Cornhuskers, college sports, or just sports in general. And when I look back at what I wanted I thought of my two sons, honestly, and like if they go back and watch this podcast in 20 years or whatever, I went, oh, what was my dad like when he was 24? Um, I, I know that they weren't going to sit and watch me interview high school football coaches about, hey, what's your new position like? But they could see me get on here and rant about these goddamn Nebraska Cornhuskers because that's what gets me fired up. And so that's kind of going to be what this podcast has kind of became. This is going to be a podcast all about like sports, but honestly, I want to just get on here and talk about things I want to talk about, if that makes any sense. Like, I want to. This is obviously going to be a big Nebraska Cornhusker podcast. I'm going to talk about them a lot all the time, but I'm also going to talk about big college sports because I watch college football every Saturday, and even if Nebraska's not like, there's big games going on. So like, I might like, hey, there's a big number 1 against number 4 playing this weekend. I'd be stupid not to come on here and talk about that. So while this will be a Nebraska Cornhusker based podcast, you guys are going to start seeing a lot of stuff about that because that's what I'm passionate about. I'm still going to talk about other things. I'm going to talk about the NFL a little bit here and there, but this will be a Husker focused podcast, if that makes any sense. Why do I want to do this? Why didn't I just end the podcast? Guys, I need a spot in my life to just get on here and rant and just speak and get things out. I can't keep it all, especially my sports stuff. I keep enough bottled up in here anyway. I can't let the sports stuff bottle up in my head, and I need somewhere to rant, and I can't expect my wife to be married to me for however long the rest of her life and just, you know, me be angry about things. I need a spot to come on here. I need my Husker therapy sessions. And I just need a spot to talk sports. So yeah, with this podcast here today, like I said, I sat down, I clicked record, and we're just going to see how long this thing goes. The biggest thing I want to do here today, I kind of want to explain a little bit on kind of some things that are making me here on this podcast, what to expect from me. I would like to talk about why why Nebraska means so much to me, why the state of Nebraska means so much to me, why Nebraska football means so much to me. And I think if you guys listen to this, you guys will get a better picture of who I am. Then we're going to talk about a little bit of just Nebraska news that's gone on. So before I get into the stuff, if this podcast, if you were only here to listen to the high school sports, like, oh, the coaches, X's and O's stuff, I'm sorry, man. I got, this is what I felt like was better for me, better for the podcast, keep more people engaged. I will be able to bring more energy talking about the Nebraska Cornhuskers blowing another 20-point lead than I would be about, oh, how was, the X's and O's of this, or what's it like building this team? Like, I love all that, but that's not the things that me personally get super fired up. So yeah. Okay. Did you enjoy that clip from the BA Coaches Show? Well, if you did, give us a like or a follow, subscribe, however you're watching this. Go check us out on all social media pages at the BA Coaches Show. We're talking all things Husker sports all the time. So check it out. Check out our podcast, check out our live streams, and go Big Red.